In the last episode, we started foaming the deck by inserting blocks of styrofoam in between the deck panel and the top of the pontoons, and then using spray foam to fill in the gaps. As the spray foam expands and cures, it oozes out the side of the panels. I go ahead and use a little hand-sailed hacksaw to cut off that excess material and provide the flush surface that we're looking for. It trims off easily, giving us a nice flush surface. And of course we'll be able to save all these little bits of foam that we're removing, and we'll jam them into the cracks elsewhere. Need the Sawzall and the belt sander for the next step, as we're going to trim back a little bit of the deck panel that overhangs the pontoons below. After a bit of trimming and sanding, we've got the foam in the deck panel trimmed back to the edge of the pontoons. Now it's time to fill that all in with some patching compound. As this is not a structural area and I just need to fill in the gaps as well as to fair out the sides of the deck to the boat and make a nice line, I decided to use FixItAll. I've got quite a bit of area that needs to be filled in. Marine epoxy would be quite expensive, as well as the resin will absolutely melt this foam. So I needed to use a compound on top of this that is inert to the foam, and FixItAll is great for that. Of course, fiberglass resin will apply right over the top of the FixItAll, and we won't have any bad materials interaction. Of course, before we fiberglass it, the FixItAll is going to get all sanded down, so got to fill in fair. This is the very first little test patch just to see how the materials interact, and they look great, so full speed ahead. Here you can see that I've got pretty much the whole area patched in. Still needs a bit of smoothing and sanding. There are lots of rough areas and still a couple of little low spots. So like anything where you're working with a material like this, it's going to be a bit of filling and sanding till you get it just right. One more coat and she's looking much better. Got to let it cure overnight and then we'll come in and do some sanding. In prepping the front and the side area for the FixItAll material, I've come in with the belt sander and coved in the foam a little bit. This gives us a little bit more area for the FixItAll to mesh into the foam and to get into the material. I want it to grip somewhat at least. And then of course we sand it over and then give it a good wipe down with acetone and then fiberglass it over. But here you can see the foam is nicely coved. Again, getting ready to come in with the layer of FixItAll. The pontoons aren't perfectly straight, as you can imagine, so using this FixItAll material is an opportunity to cover up a little bit of that sin and get the lines a little bit straighter. Once I finish with the filling and fairing and get it sanded exactly the way I want it, I'll come in, give it a good acetone wash, and then it'll get 3 layers of 1708 with the final layer of chopped strand fiberglass to blend it all together, and then we'll be ready to continue on to the other side.